Let's look at an example where we are solving by factoring. So in this problem, we have a quadratic function, which a lot of times we get in algebra classes, right? And there are different methods for solving quadratic functions. One of the most common ones and the ones that we love is factoring. So in this case, what we're going to do is we are going to split our function up into two bits, right? We want to factor this sucker and get two chunks that are going to multiply each other to get 0. So basically what we're doing is we are going to find two numbers that do two things, okay? First one is we need them to multiply to -3, right? That's going to be the last number here, right? We need two numbers that multiply to that, and we need those numbers to add to -2. So in our factoring, we're going to have an x in both of our chunks here. We're going to have two chunks multiply. And then we're going to have two bits that we don't know. So we're trying to figure out what they are. And I'll just put a dot there on both of them. We want to figure out what's going to go in those dots. Now, one of the things you'll notice is we are multiplying this to a negative number, which tells us a little bit about what our what our operations are going to be. That tells us because we have a negative, one of these is going to have a plus in them, and one is going to have a minus in them. Because if they're both minuses, minus minus cancels each other out. If they're both pluses, plus times plus gives us plus. The only way we can get a negative number for our -3 is to get one as a positive and one as a negative. All right, we need two numbers. They have to multiply to 3. So we can list out what are the ways that we can break this up. And I'm just going to think about 3. Uh, that is going to be 1 times 3, and that's pretty much the only way that we can break that up. So one of those numbers has to be 3, and one has to be 1. Now we know the two numbers have to add to -2, which means the 3 has to be on the second chunk because we need that to be bigger. So in this case, we get x plus 1 times x minus 3 is equal to 0. We aren't done yet. We've done the factoring part. However, we aren't done. Remember, the reason why we want to factor is because if we have a times b is equal to 0, then a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0, right? So we have two solutions that are going to pop up for us in this case, and that's going to always happen for us. There are mathematical worlds out there, just as a side note, where you can multiply two non-zero things and get 0, which is awesome, but that is not going to happen in our cute little algebraic world. Okay, so let's start off with our first one. X plus 1 is equal to 0. We can subtract 1 from both sides. X is equal to -1. Our second chunk can go here. X minus 3 is equal to 0. Solve for x. We're going to add 3 on both sides. So our two solutions here are x is equal to -1 and x is equal to +3. And that is how we factor an equation to solve for the quadratic solutions there. Hope you enjoyed this.